In 1997, the new and challenging Pikes Peak International Raceway produced some great action during the inaugural Children's Hospital Grand Prix. Some of the best racing was provided by the ultra-competitive Spec Racer Ford Pro Series, especially up front. Here we go, and Stillwell around the outside. This is the same move. Once again, and Stillwell gets loose under braking. Big wobble, saves it, but he loses a lot of ground. But we're back to the front end, Stillwell again. Outside, oh, Derek, so close.
Oh, hold your breath when he tries to make that move.
Oh, here goes Stillwell, squares underneath. Button backs out for just a second, and we have a new leader. Button dives to the inside, and Stillwell gets loose again under braking.
That may be a race-winning move we just saw from Joe Bunsen.
Well, this is the man that dazzled us with that flag-to-flag victory last year. Joe, what a great win for you, but here you are on the grid, unfortunately number 19. What went wrong?
Well, over the winter, John, I bought a new engine, and although the engines are sealed, there are some differences. And I kind of got a bad one this year, but we're doing all right otherwise.
Well, he's had 3 national wins, but that's not winning in the Pro Series, and that's what he wants. It's going to be great, guys.
Everybody, and welcome to Pikes Peak International Raceway. We're here for the 9th race of the 10-round 1998 Spec Racer Ford Pro Series. I'm Greg Creamer. You've met John Bizignano down in the pits, on board as our expert this weekend. 1989 Trans Am champion, but 1985 Spec Racer Pro Series champion. And Dorsey Schrader, this series historically has some great racing, and this track really seems to bring out the best.
Well, you're right about that. From 1984, when this Spec Racer was conceived, it's always been very, very tight. That's the intent of the class itself. But when you bring them to a track like this, a 1-mile oval at 5,300 feet altitude, well, the power itself comes away from the motor somewhat. What happens is you need a drafting partner. You have to be with somebody in the straightaway. Drafting all the time becomes really important. Talk about close. 2 races ago, this point battle is pretty close.
Point battle is very close indeed. It is down to but 3 points right now. Warren Stillwell, who finished second here last year, but he did win a month ago on the oval here. He's leading by a scant 3 over John Strickler. Take a look at the points here. Neil Tilber, he's back a little bit in third. Interestingly, 4th and 5th, Leo Capaldi and Robert Mumm couldn't make the trip, so Johnny Santos Brito, who has qualified very well, could easily go from 6th up into 4th, maybe take a run at Tilber for 3rd if he gets a little bit of a break. But the battle at the front for the championship is Stillwell and Strickler. Now, the gentleman who's right in that points battle, leading it as a matter of fact, is standing by with Biz.
Well, Warren Stillwell is leading the points battle. He's going for his 4th pro title. Warren, in a battle like this, do you go for the win, the emotional win, or do you go for the points?
Well, I tell you do a lot of thinking about it. You know, when the green flag drops, all the thinking could go out the window, and you want to win the race, period. But you also got to be smart about it. It's a whole season. I'm conscious of the other competitors and where they are, but I still want to win this race.
How about that, guys? A thinking race car driver, and I'll tell you, that's what's brought him his success. Dorsey?
Well, in fact, it has brought him a lot of success, John, as you mentioned. This would be his 4th pro title if he can win it this year. We'll be back to find out about the starting grid. Take a look at this great track just a little bit south of Colorado Springs.
Big A presents this NASCAR 50th anniversary moment. 1974 Permatex 300. Late in the race, Bobby Allison leads Mike Dennis in car 90 and Lenny Pons in car 1. Red Farmers slide across the infield, draws a yellow flag. Bobby Allison is still in first place after the restart, but he heads to the pits soon thereafter. His brakes are totally gone. Bill Dennis takes over the lead and holds on to win.
I'm looking for somebody who knows their parts. That'll work.
For expert advice, go to the pros.
Geico presents the following safety tip.
The most dangerous time to drive is Sunday at 2 a.m. when people are returning from parties and long weekend trips. If you must drive late at night, take extra care.
Am I on? Geico Direct could save you hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Result?
Smaller bill.
Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more. At Geico, we get the ball rolling on your claim quickly. Even in the middle of the night. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If watching the race on TV just isn't good enough anymore, and what you're really looking for is a little excitement on your weekends, then maybe it's time you discovered racing the SCCA way. The Sports Car Club of America is your ticket to the pit lane and the fast lane. If you'd like SCCA membership information, call this toll-free number, 1-800-972-6662.
Welcome back to Pikes Peak International Raceway. As we get ready to start this Spec Racer Ford series, some people might be saying, what is a Spec Racer Ford? Well, Greg Kramer had a close look at the car and what this class is all about.
Well, let's take a moment and take a look at exactly what a Spec Racer Ford Pro Series car is. This is Neil Tilber's Tyco RC car. As you can see, first of all, it's very slippery, and there's a reason for that. It's got a low power to weight ratio, so you got to get through the air as clean and as efficiently as you possibly can. Underneath the front bodywork, this will be identical for every car that's racing, from the radiator through the suspension, reservoirs for brake and clutch, all the way on back, exactly the same. Same applies for the driver compartment. You take a look inside, nice and roomy, accommodates a wide variety of driver sizes and weights, also very crucial for the series. Now we move to the back. This is it. In terms of grip at the back, little lip on the back of the car that generates some downforce. And the reason for that, you're trying to maximize your speed because every car has a small Roush Racing built 1.9 liter Ford engine. It's made into a Roush built gearbox, and you'll notice here, crucial, this is a street tire. It's shaved, but it's a street tire. What this series does very cheaply and very effectively is teach you how to drive and carry momentum and speed. And whether you're driving one of these cars or you're driving a Trans Am machine, that is crucial.
Anything you can do to get the car freed up. You know, the cars are all really the same, so it's a matter of being smooth with the car. You can't, like a higher horsepowered car, you can't go in and throw the car sideways and stomp on the gas and power out. You've got to be smooth in, smooth out, go as far as you can in, not scrub off speed, and get out clean.
Well, John Strickler there had a lot of good points, Greg. You got to keep these cars freed up. You have to optimize any little thing you can because they're all identical. Everything you do to make the car perfect is what you need to do to get this class win here today.
And the ability to teach a driver. Obviously, Dorsey won this series in '85. You won a Trans Am championship in '89. It clearly works. The field is moving, as you can see. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. This is going to be a great race coming your way. As we said, Warren Stillwell got the pole position. He's had himself a great season already. Comes in here with a very scant lead in the points. John Santos Sprito qualified second, number 19. Great opportunity for him to move up. He's had a good season. John Strickler, second in the points, is third. Neil Tilber, third in the points, is fourth. So the battle is intensifying. Denny Stripling, number 4, qualified fifth. Johnny Marigi, now he qualified in the 6th spot. Then it's Steve Stansfield. Interesting story here, Dorsey. Keith Scharf qualified 8th. He's still trying to recover in terms of the car that he lost at Grand Rapids.
Well, Keith Scharf, of course, runs really good. We were used to seeing him in the front all the time. He is in a different car this week. He had that crash that we did see that you were talking about. He has not repaired his own car yet, so this is a foreign car to him. I asked him yesterday, how's it coming? He goes, well, it's not my car, but we're making it better. We're getting there, and I think he'll be a factor in this race.
All right, Dorsey, as we look at the rest of the grid, you'll notice a pole winner this season, Chris Funk, back in 10th. Big story, back in 19th. The winner here last year, Joe Bunton. He's having his problems. And Steve Raykamp, remember we mentioned he was 10th in the points. He qualified 23rd. So some serious problems for some of the top points contenders coming in here, as well as Bunton. One of the problems, as we've alluded to, is this track. It is tough.
Well, it's up here at 5,300 feet. You know, we're at 5,300 feet, so there's not a lot of air. We look at it, you're running halfway around a 1-mile oval, so you need top-end speed. That infield is completely flat. It leads to a lot of nose-to-tail racing, not a lot of passing room in there. So it's very, very tight, keeps this field bunched up all the whole time. The elevation, let's talk about that for a minute. At 5,300 feet, anything you can do to get oxygen into the car would make a big difference. Last year, there were reports of some different types of fuels being used, some alcohol in some of the fuels, which you can buy in some of the Midwestern states. You see this gasohol. Well, it has a higher oxygen content. The SCCA, they scrutineer this very, very closely, and they have thrown some cars out for using that fuel. Now, all these cars have the same fuel in it. That will no longer be an advantage this year.
been very closely teched to make sure that doesn't happen. Take a look at the race analysis. 38 laps. The track length, as we mentioned, 1.3 miles. Quite busy. The temperature today, upper 70s, low 80s. So it's an absolutely beautiful day to go racing. Not a cloud in the sky. And I think the situation should be pretty good in terms of brakes and the like. We'll talk about that a little bit. Take a look now. The number 29 machine on the track. Excuse me, that's the number 19 of John Santos Espirito on the outside of the front row right there. Great opportunity here. Johnny has been very quick this season. His results haven't always shown it, as he's had some problems during the race, but he's been very quick in qualifying and has had some strong race runs, and you're getting a good look at that young driver right there.
Now, these drivers in front row, they should have talked to each other by now. You need a partner. You don't want to race around this racetrack side by side. If they were smart, Stillwell and him will have made a deal. They would have cut a deal to get in line as quick as possible and to try to run through this whole infield section nose to tail so that they don't slow each other up. You need to run onto that back straightaway, or when you come back up on the banking, you have to have all the momentum you can carry, and then you need a drafting partner to break the wind as you go through the banking part of this racetrack here.
Do you think we might see a battle like we saw last year with two cars checking out, or is it going to be a little bit more closely compacted this year?
They can only check out if they do what I was talking about, if they can get together in the second rows behind, go side by side. If they want to run, you know, if they want to race each other early in the race, then they're going to be like they are right now for about 4 or 5 laps before they sort it out. We get ready to go green here as they come onto the banking for the first time.
An area we're kind of calling the launching pad. It's so key to get through this corner and not lose any of that precious momentum onto the front straight. Pace car is in, and that front row starting to roll into the throttle a bit. Stillwell backs him down just a notch. There's the starter, and we are green. And oh, Stillwell had him very slow, Dorsey. Espirito looks good, but 22, John Strickler dives down to the inside. We're 3 abreast. That could be a huge move in terms of the points. And look at Tilber pushing Santos Espirito up and around the outside. Strickler goes with him, fanning out again, 3 abreast.
Well, now they're on the banking. They're on the between NASCAR turn 1 and turn 2. You look right there. They're shuffling around. You want to get in line now. You don't want to do 3 wide here for very long.
Stillwell got swamped a little bit. Number 4, Denny Stripling, almost got loose going over a curve. It is Espirito, Strickler, Tilber on the outside, Stillwell on the inside, into the left-hand hairpin. That's how they exit. Now they're going to head toward what we're calling the carousel, a little wider corner, nonetheless a 180 degree.
Well, that blows that theory for sure. We're getting a report 88 cars going to get a black flag. At the start of that race, there was a lot of shuffling. It happened in the back. They were trying to get an advantage, and I think we're going to get a black flag penalty on 88, probably as a result of not a good start by the starter.
Yeah, 88 John Brumden looked like he may have moved offline a little bit before he got to the start-finish line. You got to be careful like that in SCCA Pro Racing. Meanwhile, there's 88 Brumder, and that's going to be worse. He's deep in the pack anyway. It's going to be worse for him. Meanwhile, Santos Espirito continues to lead over 22 Strickler. Then it is Tilber at a great start. Stillwell kind of got swamped in that opening lap.
He didn't look at Strickler there in second place. Of course, he's in second place not only on the racetrack, but in the points battle. Only 3 points back. John Strickler needs this win. He needs to stay ahead of Warren no matter what happens.
One thing we see these drivers doing sometimes is hand signals, trying to say, look, I'll draft with you, trying to signal each other. Strickler looked like he may be wanting to work with Espirito, but then he tried to move on him into that hairpin, and he did close up.
Boy, the 77 car under braking back to John Marighi, when he got into the hairpin, he got the big death wiggle at the back end, had a little brake bias, and that could have caused a big wreck, as these guys can't give each other a lot of room on the racetrack. They have to run just exactly like they are. They're just going to have to run nose to tail and stay tucked in the draft. You know, talking about that, look at this. Look at all the cars they've got running. They got 25 some odd race cars here all over the racetrack.
Just saw a great look at them working through the S's. Now we're looking for Joe Bunton, who is well back in the pack, and he's number 11, the yellow and red machine, and he is still mired back in the order. As a matter of fact, last time by, he was still in that 19th place that he started in, and he is trying to work over the 88 of Brumder right now, trying to make a move. There he goes down to the inside. One thing that he has working for him, Bunton does, is a very intimate knowledge of this track. He runs here and runs here a lot.
Well, he said at the beginning that he did not get a good motor when he bought this motor. Now, what he meant by that is it can still be a little bit tight. It's not as free as some of these older motors. What he wants to do, if he doesn't have a good motor, he wants to stay in the draft all day long. He wants to go just like he did there, draft down the straightaway, pick off the guy before the corner, and tuck back in the draft. Right there, he gets clipped. He gets clipped in the corner.
That was number 33, just just kind of grazed him a little bit. That's Darren Pritt, and everybody survived it, but Pritt may have some damage to the nose. Meanwhile, at the front, Spirito continues to lead from Strickler. And Dorsey, it looks like Spirito's car is working awfully well on the banking, and Strickler's good on the infield. Is there that much adjustability in these cars?
Well, it can be for sure. And you watch also these guys who is using the curbs on the infield and who isn't. That makes a big difference as well.
All right, Spirito continues to lead. Strickler applying the pressure, and they are drawing away just a little bit from Tilber, Stillwell, and Marighi. That's your top 5. And there you see 22, Strickler giving him the hand signal. Let's work together. We'll find out if that works here at Pikes Peak.
It's the law. And as a graduate of the Paralegal Institute, you can be part of it. Prepare for this exciting career with training that fits easily into your lifestyle. Trained paralegals are in demand throughout the country, assisting attorneys in the courtroom, doing background and legal research, preparing briefs, as well as establishing case files and interviewing witnesses. This is one of the fastest growing careers today. Get the skills and confidence needed to be part of any legal team with the Paralegal Institute's training. Paralegals are a vital part of the legal scene. Call now for a free catalog.
Phone 1-800-592-4900. If a legal career interests you, don't delay. Call the Paralegal Institute now at 1-800-592-4900. The right choice in paralegal education, the Paralegal Institute. Call 1-800-592-4900 for a free catalog. That's 1-800-592-4900.
When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
For the best magazine show covering the motorcycle lifestyle, cruise down America's highways with host Michelle Smith and American Thunder.
Tuesdays at 6:30 Eastern and midnight Pacific.
We are back at Pikes Peak for the Spec Racer Ford Pro Series. And Dorsey, right before we went to break, we saw Strickler really signaling to Spirito, wants to work with him somehow. Oh, there's 88. That's Brumner. Remember, we mentioned he might be brought in for the black. He just had his black flag stop and go. He is back out on track, but that's going to put him well back in the pack, Dorsey.
Well, what John Strickler was signaling with his hand going back and forth in line, he's saying, stay in line, let's all get together. What he wants to do is he wants to race Rito up there for the lead with 1 or 2 cars in that draft. He doesn't want 10 or 12 cars in that draft because it complicates what the decisions you make as a driver. Watch right now, you see Johnny go up to the wall and then dive down. He's using the hill. He's using the banking to run down the hill to try to get a run. Of course, right behind him, Strickler knows that trick. He's right there, too.
And we look at 3rd and 4th there, the number 8, Tycho RC entry, Tilber, and 28 Stillwell doing the exact same thing. They're trying to work a draft to stay close.
Yeah, they are. Look right now. Right there, you can see that Stillwell has enough momentum to go past Neil Tilbor. In fact, he's put his nose inside of him there. I think he wants to take that 3rd position away. And they're both now, they're all side by side by side. Strickler gets forced to the outside, got it a little bit too deep. Almost gave it up to Stillwell there.
Yeah, he got hung outside a little bit. Looked like Stillwell might get him, but didn't. Now, Spirito continues to defend into the carousel here. How much is that going to hurt his exit speed? Strickler obviously closes up there, but what about the exit?
I don't think it'll help him much in the infield. There's just not much you can do there. You can gain and make losses in there, but you don't do a lot of passing. Where you need to be really good is this next couple of corners coming up onto the bank. Now you have a problem because, you know, you look at Strickler, he looks into his rearview mirror, and there's Stillwell. That is the points battle, 1 and 2. And those guys now are really going to have to go after Johnny Spirito.
And notice back in 5th, 77 Marighi, you'd mentioned before, he's joined that pack, so it's a 5-car drafting battle right now. And 77 Marighi really having a strong run. Now, another guy who is having a strong run, even though he's been buried a bit right there, number 11, the defending race champion here, Joe Bunton, and he is starting to move up a little bit, and he's, you mentioned, stay close and make some aggressive passes, Darcy. We're going to take a look at just how he's been executing that.
Well, right now, you know, you're looking back to the infield right there. They're coming up onto the straightaway. He gets a little bit better shot out. He knows it right away, pulls to the inside. That didn't cost him any time. That was the launching pad we were talking about where he got a good shot up off of that. Now, what he wants to do is work the draft down the straightaways, do the passes clean where it doesn't slow his momentum up, and one by one, he'll pick his way to the front whether he's got this weak motor or not.
Well, he's moved up to 15th, so a 4-spot improvement over where he started already, and in some very intense competition. And you can see he's being fairly aggressive, working the curbs pretty good, lets the car really flow coming out of that carousel. There's a lot of runoff out there, and some of the cars use it, some don't.
He's got a long way to go. You know, each time he makes a pass on the car in front of him, it gets a little bit harder because those cars are in fact a little bit quicker than the ones he just passed. And he's in 15th position, and look around him, just like I said, these guys are not going to lay down. They're going to fight.
At 61 is Chris Funk. As I said earlier, he's got a pole this year. He's also a fairly frequent race winner in the Pro Series, and he is in absolute war right now with Denny Stripling. Those two, and now keep in mind, Funk started, as I said, in 10. He has moved up now to 6th, and he and Stripling, that's a battle for 6. And look at this, 3 wide, now 4. Unbelievable.
You know, everybody has a chance at that. What happens when you do that right there? When they get 2 wide and then 3 wide. Look at there, a slip up right there allows, and they bump right there pretty hard. They slip up right there, allowed the car to get underneath. What I was trying to say, when you get side by side, 2 guys do it, it opens a huge wall of air. The 3rd guy becomes the fastest car. If these guys don't watch it, they're going to get in an entanglement that they don't want to be in here in a minute.
That car that got in there a little hot is 0, Keith Scharf, and that multicolored orange and yellow car right there, that tech on the hood. It's a borrowed car, and you alluded to the fact that he's just trying to come to grips with it. And we're going to take a look at that and watch for that car to run wide and really make things interesting. Here they go down on that hairpin.
He's got too much speed. Look at Keith. He slips right there. Now he can't get it turned in, and 61 car ducks to the inside. Everybody reacts to what's going on and gets the big slide. We're 4 wide with 5 cars right there, so that's some good tight racing for you.
Boy, Keith had it all crossed up, and Stripling paid the price, trapped on the outside. At the front, as we are now working lap 8 of 30. Lots of racing to go.
Look at
that's
this.
Spirito, and the 2 of them have easily broken away. Strickler now going to the outside. Remember our replay from last year at the start of the show? We saw that happen. 1 car down the inside, the other car up on the outside. And here we go. It is Spirito, then Strickler, and Strickler again pops to the outside. Strickler's very quick in the infield.
John wants to have a little patience here because all this side-by-side stuff, looking behind him, there's Stillwell. He's made up all the ground just because of those little moves that they're doing in the infield. I know it's frustrating to run in second. I think that's what Strickler is feeling, but he's going to have to wait a little bit longer and just take when it's given to him.
And Santo Spirito working the curbs with a lot of aggression, getting it crossed up. Great racing, as we promised here from the Spec Racers at Pikes Peak International Raceway. We'll be back.
These are the Schmidts of Munich. This is their new Porsche Boxster. In order to drive it Monday, Wednesday and Friday, Mr. Schmidt has agreed to assume dog-washing responsibilities. And Mrs. Schmidt, in return for Tuesday, Thursday and the coveted Saturday, has to make Mr. Schmidt's favorite Pinkelwurst 3 times a week. On Sundays, they share the Boxster. Of course, this leaves out young Dieter, who has just earned his driver's license. As in all domestic disputes, it's the children who suffer most. The Boxster. Once again, there is no substitute.
The year was 1923. The automobile was changing America, and Purolator invents the oil filter, coining the phrase, pure oil now, pure oil later. Purolator. And the rest is history. After all, we invented the business.
Hi, I'm Ken Schrader, and I'm Mike Wallace. We'd like to congratulate Purolator on 75 years in business and your involvement in racing. You've been there for the sport, and you've been there for the customer. So happy anniversary, Purolator, and congratulations on 75 years of being the leader.
Here's what's coming up on Speed Vision.
We are back at Pikes Peak International Raceway, and there is your race leader, number 19, John Santo Spirito, being pressed and hard by number 22, John Strickler. While we were gone, we had a little bit of action on the infield section. An interesting moment here, Dorsey. A couple of cars getting together.
Well, remember that? I said before, if they kept this up very long, they're going to, well, there it is. There's the bang from the inside. Didn't know he was there. Oh, it was actually lucky that they didn't take the other 2 cars with them as they spun around there.
Yeah, it was number 33, Darren Pritt out of Seattle, and 51, Rod Beckman out of Lincoln, Nebraska, getting together and having their moment. Everybody continued. That's one of the nice things about these cars, fairly sturdy, and you've got to do something serious to them not be able to continue.
You watch John Strickler there. He keeps pulling out, getting big radiuses on these corners. I think it's also allowing his radiator to get some clean air. He's up underneath real hard in the banking, so I think, you know, his temperature might be going up. All right, there you see Scharf coming through with these guys. Look back here. There's the 11 car now who started all the way in the back. He's up to 10th, so he's picking his way, just like I said, just working them over in the straightaway using the draft, and the Duff engine is not a problem right now.
Yeah, Button doing a nice job in the number 11 machine, the Button Racing Spec Racer Ford entry. And he's starting to catch that great battle that's been going on between Chris Funk in 6th all the way back to number 17, that's John Black in 9th. So Button's going to join that group. That thing's ought to get real interesting.
Yeah, he's where he needs to be. He's getting a big wall of air opened up for him, and he's right behind these guys. He just lets them suck him down the straightaway, literally, and then when he gets into the corner, he gets them under braking when he can. And if you can do that without slowing your momentum, look here. He gets a run down the low end of the banking off of turn 2, NASCAR 2. This goes down into the hairpin. Watch this. He's going to go for an out-braking maneuver, and I think he's in position. Yeah, no question. He takes that position.
Very nice, classic late braking pass.
It didn't cost him time, but look at here. He tries for a double pass. Now, that's fine, except for the next corner is a right-hand corner, and he's in the wrong end of the racetrack to make it from there, so I don't think that'll work for him. As you see right now, he drops back.
Well, look at Button. As a matter of fact, that was Carl Harris in the maroon car he passed. He's after 36, Kelly Toombs. We had a spin. That's the number 9 machine having
Richard
a quick
Doty.
loop.
Yeah, he's just gone around there in the brake zone spot. He might have had some brake bias or maybe a little help. Get back up front here. Look at Stillwell. He's right there. 3rd place is closed up. Strickler, and of course, the leader from the start, Johnny Santos Spirito.
And look at this battle for 4th as Chris Funk now has joined that battle. At 77, Marighi. Then it is 8 Tilburg going way high, 61. Chris Funk, great battle. That is the battle right now for 4th. That's slowing them down to that lead 3, but it's a good scrap nonetheless.
Watch Funk, though. Watch Funk. They were side by side, and he was behind him. He gets the big toe going. This is down into the hairpin right there. I don't think anybody's going to make a move yet.
Follow the leader there as 77 Marighi went to the inside to protect, and Tilburg went right with him. Funk entertained a move on the exit, and look who's coming up behind him, Keith Sharp.
Yeah, Keith Sharp, and he's a smart guy too. I tell you, you said entertaining. That's exactly what driving this race car is. It's very entertaining because you get to do this much side-by-side racing, all these drafting things. You have to protect from the front, from the back, from the side. I mean, it's just a blast to drive these cars.
Well, one of the real selling points of this type of racing in this series is nobody's going to throw a lot of money at the car and get better aerodynamics or 100 more horsepower. That's the whole concept. You're always going to have great close races.
Yeah, and you have to work together, and you have to work independently, to win these races like that. If you see right now, John Strickler has not tried to make any move whatsoever on Johnny, so he's sitting back there just using that draft. But they need to do something because these guys are racing real hard. That's Tilburg in the middle, of course, Funk behind, and those guys are making ground on the lead 3.
And the margin between 3rd and 4th right now, about 3 seconds. So you saw the gap. Now Tilburg going to take a look at Marighi, and he's got the inside. He turns in. Marighi squares up, looks to come back on the exit. Funk going with him. Tilburg swings wide. We're side by side again, but as you said, that's the wrong place to be for the right-hand carousel.
Classic double pass there, but by doing that, now watch what happens. Here comes Funk to the inside. He's got a preferred line. You might lose a position by just doing that bravery right there, or worse than that, if you bump each other, you might be out of the thing altogether. This is like driving in an IROC race. This is just exactly like IROC. You need to work those straightaways and not do so much of this theatrics on the infield because it's not going to get you anywhere.
And that was a number 14 car, ran a little wide, Robert Funk, and he gets quickly out of the way. Nice move there. And look at that, Keith Sharp, you talk about being a smart racer. Sharp tucked right up behind him to get any kind of draft he could before he dropped down to go back and around.
Yeah, what Sharp did was he opened up the radius coming off that corner, and he went up on top, found that red car, and tried to draft him.
All right, there's John Santos Spirito continuing to lead in what is essentially his home track. He's from Denver. We're just about an hour south of there, and Spirito putting on a great drive. Strickler continues to apply pressure. We'll be back at Pikes Peak right after this.
4 wheels, 2 wheels, all wheels in the air, or no wheels at all. Duke Video's got it. For a free catalog of the largest and most spectacular collection of auto and motorcycle racing videotapes in the world, call 1-800-DUKE-USA now. The best of Formula One, sports cars, motorcycle racing, historic races and documentaries, legendary drivers and riders, great marks, extreme videos, rally, over 600 video titles. Call 1-800-DUKE-USA for a free catalog.
Do you have trouble driving in the rain? Is the glare unbearable at night? That's why STP created Vision Blade glass treatment. Vision Blade forms an invisible barrier that repels water and virtually eliminates glare. It applies in minutes and it lasts for 6 months. This muddy water sticks to the glass on the untreated side. But with Vision Blade, the dirt and grime sheets away and your view remains clear. And now Vision Blade is available in 2 sizes to meet all drivers' needs. See what you've been missing with Vision Blade.
What if there was this great diary
And in it was written every story of the outdoors that has ever been told. Stories of gray mornings, brown dogs. Page after page logged with adventure. What if there was a diary like that? Would you be in it?
To get the Outdoor Life Network, call your local cable operator or satellite distributor.
Welcome back to Pikes Peak. We are working lap 16 of 38, and the battle at the front does nothing, Dorsey, except intensify. Stillwell has joined it, and these three are absolutely hammer and tong, particularly in the infield, but they're starting to draft a little bit on this banking and making some moves. They exploring things?
Yeah, those guys have been going after it, and they need to do something, because right behind them is another pack of cars that we looked at before, and they are unbelievable to drafting each other. Take a look at here right now. Strickler looks to the inside right there. Spirito, he's got the preferred line going right there, but he keeps going to the right. They're going to go down here. He gets pinched up on the curb. Up over the curb, he's got a lift. Because of that, he loses that position, or at least the side-by-side race that we're going to do right there. So that was, they're getting after it pretty hard right now.
Working very hard, and I would think Stillwell's got to enjoy watching that, because that just allows him to close right up and maybe watch them make a mistake. There's the gap. Now that is now Funk, who's gone to 4th. Remember, he was 6th not long ago. He's gone to 4th. Marigi is 5th. Then Taylor is starting to work over. That's 36 Kelly Toombs, a quick spin, and he's just waiting for everybody to clear. But look at that battle. 17 John Black and 8 Neil Tilber up on the curbs. Contact.
He got hit. Yeah, he got bumped from behind for sure. They're all over the curbs right there. That's Keith Sharp to the outside, working the outside of Tilber right there. And that battle has been going on. I say that's trouble because they have been running in concession faster laps than our lead cars. Look at the front of Sharp's car, how beat up it is from all this contact.
And that's what Kari borrowed after his race car got really tore up. So, but Tilber, he seems to have been caught out time and again, not being in the right spot in the draft. There's the number 11 machine, Button, who won last year. He is now firmly into the top 10, getting chased hard by number 4 Denny Stripling, who's fallen from 5th back to 11th. But here comes Tilber again under attack. Back and forth he goes with Sharp. Tilber, as I said, he has not been able to catch a break in the draft, and it's cost him.
Sharp takes that with no problem. He took him under braking and right there into the hairpin, and now they got to clean their act up. See, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it. They're going to just keep on running side by side. I say clean their act up. They need to, now that that pass has been done, they need to get back in line and try to run back up to the front like they were doing before.
Well, all that battling now has the margin between 5th place, number 77 Marigi, and 6th place, 17 Black. The blue car has expanded to 2 seconds, and it was all because of the swapping of positions they were doing.
Yeah, when you're defending in the front and the rear like that, you can't run through the corner as fast as it could run through it by yourself. So you have to be a little defensive. So it's a real hard thing to do. Go ahead, Biz.
Well, a question for you, Dorsey, is the fact that I'm standing down here along the pit wall very close to the front straightaway, which you say is so important, but there's every time these guys come around, it seems like they're taking another line. Isn't that a bit unusual? I mean, they have not found the exact fastest line. What's up with that?
I think really what they're doing is experimenting as they come out of that bottom. They're trying to free the car up as much as they can and run on whatever line the car happens to be on versus trying to put it on a designated line. They're just trying to free up the steering on the deal so that they run up onto the banking as good as possible. Look at the lead. Finally, Strickler takes it. But it's not over yet. Side-by-side racing now. Johnny Santos to the inside, but no. For the first time in the race now, John Strickler is our leader.
But you know that Strickler wasn't going to give Spirito any room at that part of the S's, because that's where Spirito squeezed him up on the curbs. So Strickler now into the lead. Spirito 2nd. You can still see Stillwell there in 3rd. Let's go back and see the setup. That's the most crucial part of these passes, Doris.
Well, down here in hard braking right now, you get down there, you look at Strickler, he's the 2nd car. Oh, a little slide there. Johnny's got a slide. He had to get out of the throttle, loses that little bit of momentum, and look, here it is. He sticks the nose right in there. John Strickler seized the moment, is now driven down to the inside. Does a masterful job of slowing the car down there so that Johnny can't get all the way alongside of him again.
And to Spirito's credit, when he saw Strickler coming, he gave him the room to make that pass. He didn't squeeze him onto those curbs. So it's a bit clean racing, fun and aggressive and clean at the front of this. Strickler, Spirito, and Stillwell laying back. Is Stillwell laying back and maybe trying to save tires, tire a little bit?
I thought that same thought myself. He could be. He could let these two guys work each other over and be real strong at the end if he wants.
So that's the lead 3. They continue to work each other over, but it is now Strickler, your new leader, as we are working lap 20 of 38 here at Pikes Peak International Raceway.
This World Rally winning moment is brought to you by Subaru. The Thousand Lakes Rally of Finland is one of the most famous events of the championship. The 1997 rally is no exception. After many lead changes, Finnish driver Tommi Mäkinen becomes the second driver in history to win the Thousand Lakes Rally 4 consecutive times. Seppo Harjanne, Mäkinen's co-driver, becomes the most successful co-driver in history with 20 World Rally wins.
Ever notice rallies are always in some place like Thailand or Beijing? And where the heck is Catalonia anyhow? Subaru knows there are extreme driving conditions right here in the good old US of A. That's why we put full-time all-wheel drive on every car we make, not unlike the kind that helped us win 3 World Rally Manufacturers Championships. World-class traction and control, right in your own backyard. Hey, why should Catalonia have all the fun? Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
You heard about the high-endurance deodorant challenge from Old Spice? It's great at stopping odor. But what if you gotta stop sweat? Well, now High Endurance makes a powerful new antiperspirant. A white solid that goes on clear. See? No white flakes. So you can stay dry without the white mess you get from some other antiperspirants. Guaranteed. Or call 1-800-PROVE-IT and Old Spice will buy you a stick of yours. So take the challenge. Because this is more than just an antiperspirant. This is the high endurance of antiperspirants.
Welcome back, everybody, to Colorado Springs, actually a little south of that, Fountain, Colorado, and the Pikes Peak International Raceway, where the spec racers are going after it. We've talked about a number of great drives in this race so far. One driver we haven't alluded to, and we should, is that guy, number 7. That's Steve Raykemper. Remember, I mentioned he was 10th in the points coming in, had a miserable qualifying, was 23rd, and he has now fought his way up to 13th. He's made up 10 spots.
Oh, and around he goes. There was almost a wreck while you were talking there. He tries to light the tires up going there. Stevie Ray, of course, got in the corner. Oh, boy, look, there's another car there, too.
You got another car took evasive, huh?
We got all kind of action going on right there. There was some rear tire lockup, which happened in the brake zone back there. That was Peter Frank that we saw off also in that same skirmish. It could have been a sympathy spin or whatever. Well, look at the replay. It all started in the brake zone at the end of the long straightaway. Watch the 74. Rear tires. It's going to get some smoke coming out of there. There it is. Locks the rear. It gets a wiggle. Turns to the inside to protect. Then right here, I think these two are going to bump. No, no bump there. Just gets loose. And look, there was kind of a sympathy spin. Nowhere to go. And the two just go right around.
That was 07 Kim Knapp. And that was the other car that spun, and Frank on the outside, the purple machine. So busy moment. Back up front, and traffic now going to play a role. 22 Strickler, 19 Spirito, who is all over them. And with these cars, Dorsey, we've talked about it, not a lot of power in these engines, which makes work at traffic hugely critical.
And you don't want to break your momentum. And you saw what happened right back there. John Strickler jammed on the brakes so that he had a little run on the straightaway. It almost caught Johnny out. Johnny almost got into the back of John when he did that. But it was done because he had to get this run away from the traffic to get up on this banking. Watch what happens now as they catch this red car up here in NASCAR 1 and 2. He's going to force him to go higher on the top side of him, I believe.
There's 22 Strickler drafts. Then the red car, the traffic moves wide. Strickler ducks underneath. And 19 Spirito goes with him. They give him room down into here. Spirito looks, thinks about the inside, decides now's not the time. A little bit of brake lock up there as well from Strickler. So obviously he is feeling the pressure from 19 Spirito as they work through this traffic. Going to move back, take a look at where 28 Stillwell is. He has really dropped back. Part of it traffic, but I don't think Warren's car is working that well on the banking.
It's lost the draft, too. He's not in the draft. He's not getting the aid that he has, and the other two cars are probably running 5 mile an hour quicker down the straightaway because they're in a 2-car draft. And poor John right now, I mean, Warren is out by himself, and he's about 4 or 5 mile an hour. He's a slow guy right now, unfortunately. It's not his fault.
A little wobble there, too. As you pointed out, you said it before, trying to free the car up. You don't want to pinch the car down too much there because climbing that banking, that really is scrubbing speed, isn't it?
No, we talked about that, climbing the bank and scrubbing speed. You know, you look at right now, Warren's running by himself. It's hot up here in the altitude. He's not getting any help at all aerodynamically. So his car is slow. And I mean, it's not his fault, but he got shook loose on the draft, and now it's a 2-car battle up the front. And they're making progressive ground to get him away from him.
And he's not getting any help from Spirito, who he needs to finish in front of Strickler. You don't want to have that kind of ground made up. There's a good look at number 20. That's Nikki Ruman. I believe the lone female racing in this race, very accomplished racer at the national club level, and her dad drives Trans Am cars.
Yeah, Nikki qualified 24th, was up to 18th, had a little bit of a problem, a little slide off the track there has dropped her back, so she's now in 20th place, the first woman ever in spec racing to finish in the top 10, which happened in Grand Rapids this year.
Very accomplished young driver and giving it a good run here, as you said, but for that one problem, which is going to happen, looking at maybe a top 15 finish. She's got her work cut out for her right now. And that's number 36, Kelly Toombs, who had a spin earlier that she's chasing. That's one of the things about this class, since it is so equal from car to car. No matter where you're running in the pack, you eventually find somebody to race with.
Well, you can race for dead last, you can race in the middle, you can race in the lead. It doesn't make any difference where you are. You know, you can spin from the lead and race for 10th in the middle. It's all really good, and there's a lot of competition no matter where you are. There's our 11 car again. He's steadily working his way up. He's now up to 8th place from way in the back there. He's just slowly but surely using that draft and straightaway. Look at the 3 cars in front of him. If he can just get a little closer, he'll get some toe off those guys, and then he'll be right on them.
It's a remarkable 11 position improvement for Bunton. Meanwhile, Marighi, there's the margin. He's trying to close up. Marighi, though, went underneath Sharp. That's John Black, the yellow, or the blue car up on the outside, still side by side.
And that's what Joe Bunton wants, 3 wide. Look at him. Look at all the ground he made up on those, because those guys are 3 wide. And look at Joe. He was about 10, 12 car lengths back. Now he's right there.
All right, Joe Bunton doing what he needs to do and getting the help he needed in front. And he has caught him. What a remarkable race for Bunton. Look how wide he goes on the edge of that corner. With a Duff motor, he's carrying every ounce of speed he can.
Well, he does exactly what he's supposed to do. He's going to run behind these guys now up onto the banking. He's going to draft a 4th car back in a draft. These guys are already side by side. That's hurting their overall speed. Just that little bit right there. They need to be just nose to tail. Watch now as you see the 11 car start to get sucked into the draft, right into the vacuum behind Keith Sharp.
And you're saying if one of these 2 cars pops out, Bunton is going to go quicker still.
He'll get a huge, if they get up here off this corner and they get side by side, speaking of side by side, there's our side by side lead as Johnny's trying to get by Strickler there, and not a good place to do it, and he thought better of it.
Well, Spirito working him over. He has not let Strickler go since Strickler got by him. And we talked about his results, the number 19 car of Spirito. When you look at the results book, doesn't show the results that he's shown he's capable of. He has had some abysmal luck, but he's been very quick.
And you look at John Strickler, and he's been coming on a long time. That's the King Coil car there. Of course, he owns Mattress City, and King Coil's a mattress company. So John has been coming on, driving these cars now for a couple of years, and is ready to win a championship. As we see right here today, he's second in the points, but he's leading right now. You know, John Bizignano, can you help us out on this 28 car deal?
Well, as far as Warren Stillwell goes, they came to Pikes Peak International Raceway and they went out for practice and qualifying with a brand new set of tires. They weren't happy with those set of tires, even though they were on pole position. So right before the race, they changed to a very used set of tires. And maybe that was a mistake. Maybe these tires are going away in the later laps. They had a lot of miles on them. It was the first time that that set of tires was on this racetrack. How can you make a change like that, Dorsey, right before a race?
Well, that's a surprising change to make. He must have been really unhappy, and it's hard to believe he'd be so unhappy when he's sitting on the pole like that. But although these tires are all the same, they're manufactured by the same manufacturer, they're cut the same way, you can get ones that are older than the other when they were produced and not get the same grip as you would as the other ones. But I don't know, that's a risky call, and it doesn't look like it worked to his advantage today.
No, Stillwell struggling, still third, but he is back a ways of these two. These are your leaders on those BF Goodrich tires. They're working for him up front, no question. That is Strickler over Spirito. The battle continues. We are working lap 28 of 38.
Everyone at Motor Trend magazine is driven. Driven to give you the best. Driven to find everything new and exciting. Driven to showcase the best new trends. And driven to save. Call right now and we'll send you a free issue when you subscribe to 1 year of Motor Trend. That's a savings of 71% off the cover price. We're driven to bring you the most exciting news about the most exciting articles written today. Call right now to reserve your free issue. Motor Trend, driven to give you the best and driven to save. Call right now to reserve your free issue.
Here's what's coming up on Speed Vision.
Number 19, Spirito, has less than 10 laps to get around number 22, Strickler, at this stage, Dorsey. He has been working him over mercilessly. And are either of them at this point using up those tires maybe a little bit too much, or
no, I don't think
racing
so.
each other hard?
I think they're racing each other hard, and I tell you what, as hard as they've raced this whole race, 10 laps seems like an eternity when you're under pressure on every inch of the racetrack like that. But I don't think they're in any danger on their tires. They're not sliding too much. They're up on the curves, yeah, but you don't see them slide off the curbs that much. I think they're in pretty good shape, really.
Well, Spirito has been unforgiving, and up front, Strickler has been near perfect. I mean, he hasn't put a wheel wrong, but Spirito is just applying huge pressure.
Well, what these guys don't want now is two things. They don't want a yellow, for sure, because they've got a real nice gap now on Stillwell. They've broken the draft, and they're out there by themselves. And in the meantime, the 07 is Kim Knapp has had a moment there and is off course. They don't want a yellow to come out, so they lose the lead they have, and they don't want to catch a pack of cars racing, a big pack, which it breaks their momentum when that happens. So they'll be thinking about that.
Watching Kim Knapp gathered back up and get back and underway. No harm, no foul. Again, just a quick spin. And Kim, right back up to speed, doesn't waste a whole lot of time getting back up to speed. But as you point out, the leaders, traffic, not just the draft, not other things, traffic could really affect how that battle goes. They've been very lucky so far, as Knapp clearly back on pace and right by the start-finish line, heading down into NASCAR 1.
But once anything breaks your momentum, doesn't make any difference what it is. Let's say it is a lap car, and you have to get out of the throttle or on the brake, and your momentum is broken. It takes you a full lap to get back up to speed. And of course, these guys have worked a two-car draft now the entire race, and that's been to their advantage. That's why they have the big lead. They don't want to give that up because they've been working real well together.
Kim Knapp in the LaRue Motorsports entry, heading down into the very tight left-hand hairpin, and quickly catching up to number 23, John Bowden. So Knapp, once he did get back and underway, is starting to go rather quickly at that.
I don't think Bowden will hold him up very much. He's not having one of his best weekends for sure. Look at that. Oh, did you see that right there? Strickler locked the rear brake. We've seen that now. 3 or 4 different cars lock a rear brake up. There's something you can do about that in the car. There is a brake bias adjustment in these Spec Racer Fords, and you can dial that to the front. If he felt that it was the rear, he can now adjust it more toward the front. And that could also be as the fuel burns off. Look right here. There, the 51 car motions John. He knows he's the leader. He says, in fact, he runs over the curb to give him room. He says, go by me on the inside. I don't want to hold you up. I don't want to mess up your race. But he didn't have to drive off the racetrack to give him that much room.
That was a nice piece of sportsmanship by Rod Beckman. Oh, and behind him, the car that they just worked through, quick spin. That's the launching pad, and you try and carry every ounce of speed you can up onto that section of track, and you hope you don't have a problem, and he did, but you got no choice. You got to get through that corner as quick as possible.
You know, the way that car spun right there, and it was really on a pretty straight trajectory off that corner, I think he might have just gotten the wrong gear. I think maybe he went from second back into first, and that spun the car versus second to 3. We look at the 0 there. That's Keith Scharf. He's had a bit of an off-track excursion, and from the front of that car, he's also had a little bang around. We look at it right here. This is the brake zone. Look, oh, he's got the rear locked up. Look, rear brake bias again. That turns the car like pulling a handbrake. It slides wide. He's trying to save it, runs out of room, and gets. That was actually a pretty good save because he could have done a lot of damage to the nose if he went off there real hard.
Unfortunately for Keith, if he would have made the pass, it would have been for 5th. He's now back at 8th, so it did hurt him back into that same corner, but without any traffic. You can see a little bit of damage there.
A little bit of a tire mark on the left front fender too, which was a courtesy of somebody's rear tire. I'm sure he pushed in there. Look at the under tray. That hurts him when he gets in those long straightaways because that's not very dynamic. In the meantime, this battle's still going on. That's a Tilbor deal going on back there. He's in a 4-car battle all day long.
Tilbor is the bright-colored car. Number 8, number 4 is Denny Stripling. They're working through some lap traffic. 69 is Harris, and those 3, that's the battle for 9th. And we talked about that. I mean, Tilbor had been running in the battle for 3rd and 4th earlier. He slipped back, but he gets no relief.
You know, beginning of the show, I talked about these cars being put together and the concept being done in 83 into 84. We were racing them. Neil Tilbor goes back to that date. I raced Neil Tilbor in 85 even when I won the championship.
Yeah, Neil Tilbor has been enjoying this class of racing for quite a while. Meanwhile, up front, Mr. John Strickler continues to run in front. Spirito right there. We are closing in on the last few laps of this great battle here. We'll be back to see how it all unfolds.
4 wheels, 2 wheels, all wheels in the air, or no wheels at all, Duke Video's got it. For a free catalog of the largest and most spectacular collection of auto and motorcycle racing videotapes in the world, call 1-800-DUKE-USA now. The best of Formula One, sports cars, motorcycle racing, historic races and documentaries, legendary drivers and riders, great marks, extreme videos, rally, over 600 video titles. Call 1-800-DUKE-USA for a free catalog.
I grew up on the plains of West Texas. When I was 10, I fell in love with a movie that told of the highest peaks on the highest mountains of the world. I've climbed 100 mountains since then, but none haunt me more than those I remember on the plains of West Texas.
To get the Outdoor Life Network, call your local cable operator or satellite distributor.
You heard about the High Endurance Deodorant Challenge from Old Spice? It's great at stopping odor. But what if you gotta stop sweat? Well, now High Endurance makes a powerful new anti-perspirant. A white solid that goes on clear. See? No white flakes. So you can stay dry without the white mess you get from some other anti-perspirants. Guaranteed. Or call 1-800-PROVE-IT and Old Spice will buy you a stick of yours. So take the challenge. Because this is more than just an antiperspirant. This is the high endurance of antiperspirants.
Hey, this is Ricky Rocket from Poison, and you're watching Speed Vision.
Back at Pikes Peak, 5 laps. 5 laps remaining here, folks, and this battle has been intense. A little bit of a margin now being opened up by Strickler as Spirito has slipped back just a little bit, but they were working traffic, Dorsey. They got a little bit of clear track, but there's a car out in front, too.
Well, John Strickler probably got through traffic better, and now he's broken the draft. He's actually further up. Look back there at the end of that line there. That's the 11 car. He's still moving up, button up to 7th place now. He's having a very good day from a very bad start, up to 7th already.
Well, he's showing his...
with the front up there with whoever it is. Strickler has actually broken the draft right there. Bunting, on the other hand, is in the draft. In a 4-car draft there, that's where he needs to be if he's got a motor that's not quite as strong as these others.
Well, you talked about it. A smart driver can work wonders, and Bunting has done just that. I don't think he's got a shot at the win, but he's got a shot at the top 5 the way things are going. There goes Black, there goes Marighi, and Bunting locks up. But so did Marighi. That rear brake locking up on Marighi's car. We've seen that an awful lot into that corner, and if it locks up, you kind of scoot a little bit, and then you've got monster push through the whole turn.
Well, you saw the accordion effect there. The first car made the mistake, and everybody accordioned in there. Everybody locked their brake up a little bit. Then you're in there with too much speed. The car understeers, won't make the corner. He's made the pass for 6th place there, capitalizing on a mistake that was made 2 cars in front of him. Big slide. Whoa. Bunting, that was not good for him. He was a good catch there. Oh, boy, look at that. He's very loose all of a sudden.
He moves down offline. He's got something wrong.
He's got problems. He's got a flat tire, I'm sure of it. 2 big old death wiggles right in the middle of that corner. He pulls the thing off the banking down to the bottom. I think he thinks he's got a flat anyway. I don't know if he does, but the car was all of a sudden very, very loose in 2 corners.
Well, he's been really charging the curbs and up and on the curbs. Could even maybe damage suspension. The tires look fine. Could he have bent something in the suspension?
You wouldn't think so. These things are tanks. These spec racers are unbelievable. You can slam them around all day long. But I think he thought he had a flat tire for sure. Whatever it was, the car got real loose on him, and he pulled down. He gave up and pulled off the line. And, but now he's back up the street again.
Well, he had a couple of corners to kind of check and see just if that car was still in working trim. We've been talking about tires, and Biz has some information from the pits. John?
Well, in the closing last lap of every race, tires are very important. This is the BF Goodrich tire that the current leader is using. This is his spare. It looks just like the ones in the showroom because it is a street radial. Now, if you turn it sideways, the tread is almost all gone. They want this to almost be like a racing slick with the tread almost completely gone, but it's a very fine line between this tire being a racing slick and something that's working at its maximum performance and being totally worn out. It's a very fine line, guys.
Well, Biz, right now Strickler seems to have managed those tires incredibly well. Although, look at that. Spirito closing up once again. They're working traffic. We will see, I believe, the white flag next time by, Dorsey, and this last lap and a half should be great.
For John Strickler, all he has to do is exactly the same thing he's been doing. Be smooth, but look in front of him. Lap traffic. He's waving already. He's got his hand up. I just saw him waving. He's trying to make the guy in front of him aware. I'm coming. Don't hold me up. I got somebody all over me. I only got a lap to go. I got to get out of here, you know. So he's really, really thinking right now. He's trying to run this last lap as smooth as possible.
Oh, and a spin almost caught that lead group. Unfortunately, it slid off to the side. Meanwhile, Strickler up working the traffic right here as we're watching for that white flag. There it is, the white flag for your leader, Strickler. When you catch traffic and you're in a battle like that, that corner worker with the blue flag could be your best friend.
Yeah, you're not kidding. It could be your best friend. And good news for Strickler, he cleared the last hurdle. That's a new one. The last hurdle he needed to do, he passed that lap car. There's nobody in front of him on this lap anyway that he's going to catch. All he has to do now is race himself in the racetrack. Don't make a mistake. He's got this one won.
Spirito's struggling a little bit to get around that lap car, and Spirito comes into that hairpin with a big head of steam. Strickler
locks the rear again. Lock the rear up again. Not a lot of room here. There's going to be desperation here. You got to watch in the brake zones. That's the only place that Johnny can make any groove. And he's looking the inside. He's looking, but not enough. Not there anyway.
Spirito applying a lot of pressure on this final lap. Runs out wide, carrying that momentum into the S's right now. There's the left-hander up on the curb, the right-hander. And now you've got to get through here and stay to the right a little bit to get set up for the launch pad. And they're in it. They're climbing up on the banking doors.
Don't miss a gear here. You can lose a race by missing your second to third gear upshift. That's all it would take. It's going to be a close finish, but no doubt about it. John Strickler, a great day for him.
Strickler picks up the win. Better news for him is that Stillwell is back even another spot in third. There's the very proud father of John Strickler. One of his crewmen on the radio. Here's the battle coming at you for fifth. Marighi trying to get number 17, Black in the blue car. And just that close, not going to happen. Great racing throughout the pack. But the key is Strickler won it. Stillwell finished third. And look at this, number 11, Bunton. I think he's celebrating big time.
Bunton from the back to 7th place.
19th to 7th.
And with a motor that's admittedly not as strong as some of these others. So he played the whole thing well.
Great battle there at the line, number 4. Look at that. That was number 4, Stripling, and he was celebrating with number 69, Carl Harris. They knew they had a great run. But our winner, very happy. The crew happy. Let's check in with Biz.
They're very happy, and you looked worried all the whole race, Steve Fensky, the man who put this winning effort together. You must be absolutely thrilled. What a drive.
Oh, I was definitely worried, but boy, am I happy. We're back in the lead in the championship again. I'm really proud of John and the King Coyle Metro City Spec Racer Ford really performed well today.
Now, when these cars are so evenly designed, how do you get that last bit of performance out of the car?
It's the driver. It really is. It's the driver.
Well, they got a great crew and a great driver, and they brought it home first, guys.
John Strickler did a great job, as he does indeed bring it home for the win. John Santos Spirito, second Stillwell, Funk, and Black. Your top 5 here at Pikes Peak. We'll come back and visit with our winner.
I thought every deodorant worked the same, until I tried longer lasting high endurance. It has a 24-hour formula that evaporates less quickly. Nothing stronger at stopping odor longer. Try it, because this is more than the best deodorant. It's the high endurance of deodorants.
Nobody loves cars more than I do. Each one is a work of art. So when the maker of all these chose a new antifreeze, it got my attention.
General Motors now uses the deck school technology of Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze in virtually all its new vehicles. The same patented formula you can use in your car for 5 years or 150,000 miles. So do what GM did. Switch to Haviland.
I use it in my car. I only wish this were it.
If you've ever wondered what it's like to actually drive a Winston Cup race car, I got good news for you. Hi, I'm Richard Pitt. At my schools, you'll drive a real Winston Cup style stock car at one of the best racetracks in America. Our expert staff and professional drivers will acquaint you with the track, the safety gear, and the car. Then you'll take your turn behind the wheel, run some laps, and then receive personal feedback when you get back in the pits. For more information, call 1-800-BE-PETTY.
Welcome back to Pikes Peak International Raceway. John Strickler has just arrived in the winning circle. He is also leading in points now. John, step out on other cars so we can get a better look at you. What a wonderful drive. First of all, the first part of the race, it looked like you couldn't do anything with the competition. How'd you get by?
I just decided to let Johnny do the work out there. It was a little easier to stay in his draft, and I hope that running together we could get away from Warren. We get a little bit away, he'd reel us in. We get a little bit away. Finally, I decided it looked like Warren was right on us. Something happened, he dropped back. I decided I had to go around Johnny and see if I could put myself out front, and man, he was on me the whole way. It was fantastic.
Well, which is it? Easier to follow like that with someone who you have a lot of confidence with right up behind you, or to lead?
Oh, it's definitely easier to follow. It's always harder when the guy's out in front of you and has the pressure on you. So, you know, I thought, well, why work myself that hard the whole time? I thought I'll wait till try to run Johnny's tires on him pretty hard, see see if he'd make a mistake. He didn't, but it's easier to follow.
Well, I'll tell you, he says it's easier to follow, but he's one great leader.
He led that absolutely beautifully, and big thumbs up from John Strickler. As you take a look at the final results, Strickler over Spirito, Stillwell in third. Boy, that points battle huge. 61, Chris Funk, a great drive coming from back in the pack. Better still, number 11 Bunton from 19th up into 7th, a great drive there. Then it was Scharf and Tilber who faded a little bit. In 10th, number 4 Stripling, and back on through the rest of the pack. Wherever it was in the pack, Dorsey, it was great racing.
Well, it's exactly what you expect out of Spec Racer Ford. Good battles all the way through. I love that battle back there with Black and Marighi and Bunton, that whole bunch. They were really going. Great to watch. Great to watch. The hometown favorite here, if you will, is John Santos Spirito, and he's with Biz.
Johnny, you look a little tired. Were you working hard out there?
Oh, I tell you, I worked real hard. John drove a great race. The back end was loose, and I couldn't hold him off, and I did everything I could. I mean, I was trying to outbrake him, everything. He just drove a fantastic race. He deserves a win.
Dorsey, I think you said that the car was getting loose towards the end. He did work hard at this entire race.
Yeah, you talk about working hard. When the car's loose, you really work hard because it's double work. For every corner you turn left, you got to turn back to the right again. So he did a good job, too.
Let's take a look at the points. With 20 to win and 14 for third, it's a 6-point swing. Now Strickler leads Stillwell by 3 as you look at the rest of the points. This battle going into the final round in Homestead, Florida, along with the FIA GT cars, is going to be a great battle, Dorsey.
It's going to be a great battle. They're all great battles. My hats off to Strickler and Stillwell. Been doing so good. Strickler hasn't won a championship. My heart's with him.
As we take a look at that last rush toward the checkered flag, John Santos Spirito doing everything he can, but Strickler does what he needs to be a player in the points championship with a great win here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. I'm Greg Creamer once again. For John Bizignano and Dorsey Schrader, we want to say thanks very much for joining us here. We'll see you next time here on Speed Vision.